The metal elevator doors slid open with a soft chime on the 32nd floor of Meridian Group's glittering headquarters, but what happened next would change everything. CEO Veronica Hale, known across the city as the Ice Queen of Wall Street, stepped in with her usual graceful authority, her polished heels clicking like a countdown against the marble floor. She didn't expect company. She certainly didn't expect a young boy wearing scuffed sneakers and holding a faded backpack to already be inside. But what stopped her dead in her tracks wasn't the surprise of seeing a child in her private elevator, it was his voice. He looked up with wide, urgent eyes, and whispered firmly, "Don't talk." His voice trembled, not with fear, but with purpose. Veronica's breath caught in her throat. In that split second, she sensed something life-changing was about to unfold in the next 33 floors downward. Red heart, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of compassion, please like, comment, share and subscribe to Ripple of Hope. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Veronica Hale had built her reputation brick by ruthless brick. Raised in a broken home herself, she believed that success meant never looking back and never showing weakness. At just 38, she ran a billion-dollar real estate empire from a glass office in the sky, where the problems of the little people never seemed to touch her. She wore strength like armor, and efficiency like perfume. Every day, her elevator bypassed dozens of floors and dozens of hard-working employees without a moment's hesitation, just like she bypassed other people's lives, their struggles, even their existence, unless they directly impacted her bottom line. To Veronica, mercy was inefficient, until that day. She recognized the boy in the elevator as Liam Mendoza, a quiet child who sometimes waited in the lobby for his father, Marco, the janitor who mopped the floors at night. Marco was humble, soft-spoken, and invisible in the corporate machine. Veronica barely acknowledged him outside a curt nod on rare occasions. Yet here was his son, standing beside her silver briefcase, pleading for silence with eyes that seemed far older than his years. She wanted to tell him to leave, to call security, to demand answers, but something about his trembling hands made her pause. Suddenly, Veronica noticed Liam clutching a folded piece of paper. His lips moved soundlessly, as if he were afraid even breathing too loudly would break something precious. The elevator began its descent, floor numbers clicking behind Veronica's head like a heartbeat. Just then, her phone buzzed. Instinctively, she reached for it, but Liam shook his head and mouthed again, "Please, don't talk." Her fingers hovered in midair. She swallowed hard. The woman who commanded armies of executives found herself obeying a child with tear-stained cheeks. And so, she stayed silent. As they passed the 28th floor, Liam slowly opened the paper in his hands. It looked like a hand-drawn birthday card, done with crayons, the colors messy but full of heart. On it were the words, "Happy birthday, Mommy in heaven." Veronica felt a tiny crack appear in her chest. She remembered those words from somewhere deep in her past, the birthday cards she used to write herself when her own mother passed away from cancer when she was only 9. Her chest tightened. She had buried that pain under layers of ambition and skyscraper dreams, but here it was again, staring at her in the form of a little boy barely 8 years old. Floor 23. The elevator kept sinking. Liam's lips parted, and this time he whispered so softly she almost didn't hear him. "I didn't want anyone to sing Happy Birthday today. Mommy doesn't like noise," he said shakily. Veronica blinked. Now completely disarmed, she kneeled down in front of him despite the protest of her designer skirt. She lowered her voice to a gentle whisper, "Why are you here alone, Liam?" His voice broke as he answered, "Dad forgot, today's my mom's first birthday in heaven. He said he'd try to save for a cake, but I know he has no money. He'll be sad if he finds out I'm sad, so I didn't want anyone to talk to me. I just wanted today to feel peaceful." That's when Veronica saw the full picture. This boy was hiding in her private elevator, trying to steal just a few moments of quiet to grieve. Her throat tightened. The woman who rose by stepping over others now felt an earthquake rumble through her soul. She thought of Marco, always working late, always tired, yet always smiling, and realized how little she ever saw of the people right under her nose. She had spent years building empires yet never lifted a finger to notice the small lives whose sacrifices made her towers shine. Suddenly, the elevator stopped at floor 10 due to a brief technical glitch. The lights flickered. Liam whimpered and shut his eyes. Veronica, forgetting her persona, pulled him gently into her arms and hugged him. "You don't have to be strong all the time," she whispered. It didn't sound like a CEO. It sounded like a mother. One tear rolled down Liam's cheek, soaking into her crisp white blouse. Veronica didn't flinch. When the elevator jolted back to life and reached the ground floor, Veronica stood tall again, but something had fundamentally changed inside her. She clasped Liam's tiny hand and walked him through the lobby, heads turning in shock. No one had ever seen the Ice Queen descend with a child in hand and softness in her eyes. From that day on, Veronica Hale's heart cracked open, permanently. She secretly arranged a scholarship fund in Liam's late mother's name. She promoted Marco to a better-paying position in building maintenance. She even had an anonymous cake delivered every year on that exact date with the words, "From someone who remembers too," ensuring Liam would always feel seen. The staff whispered about the shift in their once fearsome leader. Meetings grew kinder. People began smiling in the hallways. For the first time, her elevators weren't just moving people upward, they were lifting hearts. Veronica never told anyone the full story of what happened in that elevator, but the lesson remained engraved on her soul. Sometimes the smallest voices carry the greatest truths. And sometimes, the bravest thing we can do is listen in silence. Dizzy, if this story touched your heart and reminded you of the hidden struggles people carry, please like, comment, share and subscribe to Ripple of Hope. Your one click fuels countless stories of compassion.